Welcome back to Practical PyTorch. CUDA out of memory is the error people dread most, but it is the most mechanical to fix. Learn the 4 things filling the card, and both the message and the cure are plain. CUDA out of memory is the error people dread, but it is the most mechanical one to fix. Once you know the 4 things filling the card, the message and the cure are plain. During training, only 4 things fill GPU memory: parameters, gradients, optimizer state, and activations. Read the error, see which one overflowed, and the fix picks itself. 4 segments fill the card. We name them overflow 1, then fix it twice. This video has 3 parts. First, where the VRAM goes, the 4 segments that fill the card. Second, reading a real out-of-memory error. It's 4 numbers and why reserved is not used. Third, 2 fixes and a myth. Batch size no grad and why empty cache rarely helps. Part 1, where the VRAM goes. Think of GPU memory as a budget. This ceiling marks the limit, about 22 gigabytes. Below it, the whole band is free. Nothing is allocated yet before training starts. One card, about 22 gigabytes. Everything training needs has to fit under this line. First into the card, the model's parameters, the weights themselves. ResNet 50 has about 25.5 million of them. At 4 bytes each, that is 97.5 megabytes. The small blocks are drawn wide so each label fits. The number is the true size. 25.5 million weights, 4 bytes each. The model itself is small against the ceiling. Backward fills a gradient for every parameter, 1 number per weight. So gradients take the same space as the parameters. That is 97.5 megabytes again. The 2 segments are the same height on purpose, 1 gradient per parameter. Atom keeps 2 running averages per parameter, a first and a second moment. That is another 198.5 megabytes, roughly twice the parameters. The 3 segments together are still a small slice of the card. Now the forward pass. Every layer saves its output so backward can use it. Those are the activations. At batch 64, that is 5,238.6 megabytes. Parameters, gradients, and optimizer state are fixed by the model. Activations are the giant. They scale with the batch and the image size. The whole bar is about 5.6 gigabytes. Still well under the ceiling, but activations dominate. Added up. Parameters 97.5 megabytes. Gradients the same 97.5. Optimizer state 198.5. Activations 5,238.6. The fixed trio sums to about 393 megabytes. Add the activations, and the whole thing is about 5.6 gigabytes. The fixed trio is small. The activations dwarf it at roughly 5.2 gigabytes, so an out-of-memory is almost always the activations, and the batch size is the knob that sets them. Part 2, reading a real out-of-memory error. Now push past a training-sized run on purpose. Crank the batch to 512 and the image to 320 by 320. Activations scale with both, so the fixed trio holds while the activations balloon. They climb straight through the ceiling. This red wall is the limit. The red cap marks where memory ran out. That is a real out of memory. The arrow marks the amount that could not fit. And the label names it out of memory. bigger batch and bigger images. The activations burst through the 22 GB wall. The message OOM printed is not noise. It is 4 numbers, and they tell you exactly what happened. It tried to allocate 3.12 GB. Only 2.63 GB was free. The card's total capacity is 22.03 GB, and 18.91 GB was already allocated by PyTorch. The next block did not fit in what was free. That is the whole meaning of the error. There is no mystery. That last line is the caching allocator. PyTorch grabs blocks from the driver and reuses them. At the out of memory, PyTorch had reserved about 19,624 megabytes, but its tensors only held about 19,368. The gap is about 256 megabytes of cached but free blocks. That matches the message's reserved but unallocated line. So reserved is always at least as much as used. An NVIDIA SMI reads higher than your tensors. It counts the whole reserved pool plus the CUDA context. Part 3. 2 fixes and a myth. Back to a training-sized batch of 64. Now pull the one lever that shrinks activations. Have it to 32. The activations drop by about half, from 5,238.6 megabytes down to 2,627.6. Applied to a run that is overflowing, this pulls it back under the ceiling. Activations scale with the batch. The other 3 do not. So the batch is the first lever. To keep a large effective batch, gradient accumulation sums grads over smaller micro batches. Batch 64 to 32. Activations roughly halve. The other 3 do not move. At evaluation, you never call backward, so nothing needs to be saved for it. Wrap the pass in torch.nograd. The activations drop from 5,238.6 to 637 megabytes. Under nograd, the activations are never kept for backward. The forward peak is only 637 megabytes here. For training itself, activation checkpointing trades compute to recompute activations instead of storing them. Eval under nograd, no graph saved. Activations fall to 637 megabytes. The reflex when memory is tight is to reach for torch.cuda.empty cache. But empty cache only hands the cached but free blocks back to the driver. It frees nothing your program is actually holding. It can't reclaim the CUDA context either, so it almost never fixes an out of memory. It hands back free blocks, not your tensors. Cut the batch or use nograd. 4 things fill the card: parameters, gradients, optimizer state, and activations. The first 3 are fixed by the model. Activations scale with the batch and dominate. Here that is 5,238.6 megabytes. Read the out of memory's 4 numbers. What it tried to allocate, what was free in the total, plus who allocated it and reserved is not used. 2 real levers. Have the batch and nograd at eval. Empty cache is not one of them. 1 to try. If you have the batch size, which of the 4 segments gets smaller? Reason it out from what scales with the batch. Then check the answers file, labs, answers, in Video Labs, section 3.6. Only the activations track the batch, so the batch is the first lever and nograd the second. Next, we shrink every number instead of every batch. Mixed precision uses fewer bits per value for less memory and more speed.